So guess what? I got invited to this fantastic dinner party by a friend. And I spent a lot of time trying to see what I'm going to wear, how I'm going to dress, how I'm going to do my hair. But then I remembered that the most important part about a party is to go to a person's house and actually have a casual but interesting conversation. And somehow I got a little nervous just thinking of that. Does that happen to you as well? Do you get nervous when someone invites you for a party because you don't know how to have an interesting party conversation in English? Well, if that's the case, then you have come to the right place. Well, hello and welcome to this video. My name is Rima. And today we're going to talk about interesting casual party conversations that you can have when you are invited to a party. It's very natural to get excited about going to a party, but when you reach there, it's also very natural to get a little nervous about what you're going to say, how you're going to break the ice, meaning how you're going to start a conversation. So what I have done is I have listed out lots of questions on the board. Now all these questions you can use when you are invited to a dinner party at somebody's place. Now these questions I have written down by category. Now as I go along, as I explain, I'm going to tell you about that category and I'm going to explain each question that you can use. So let's start. Ready? Okay. Now the first thing is when you enter somebody's home and you've been invited for a dinner or a lunch, I can very, very confidently say that everyone, including you and the other guests, are looking forward to that one word which is called food. Now, the moment I say food, I'm going to have a big smile on my face because parties are known for awesome food. Now, imagine you've reached the party and you've dressed up beautifully, you're looking great, your host or hostess have welcomed you and they request you to come right ahead, see the house, mingle with other guests, and they start serving delicious starters. Now, moment you start eating those starters, you realize that this is some really good food. So how would you want to start the conversation then? Obviously, with food. Well, the first thing you can say this to your host or hostess, wow, that's yummy what I just ate. Did you make this yourself? Meaning, did you cook this by yourself? Did you invest the time and effort in making this for us? Now, this question shows that you're a foodie and a very interested, sensitive guest. And I'm sure your host or hostess will definitely approve of this question and they'd love to tell you whether or not they cooked this by themselves. So let's say that the hostess made the starters or the entire menu herself. She will appreciate this question and talk about it. Or let's say if they have some hidden master chef in their kitchen, then they get a chance to show off the skills of their master chef. So that again leads to a very interesting conversation. So well, did you make this yourself? Could be one question, obviously related to food. The next question, if the answer happens to be yes, I made all this myself, I love cooking, then you could ask the next question, which could be, do you cook often? Because if a person loves to cook, they love to talk about it. So you could say, do you cook often? And the answer could be yes, no, when I find time, whatever be the answer. You can also ask them what else you like to cook. So the person who enjoys food and cooking and recipes and different styles of cuisines would love to answer these questions. So I'm telling you, conversations about food are always a hit if the food is a hit. Now it so happens sometimes the food's not that great, but still these questions will work because I'm assuming the host or the hostess intended to serve you great food. It probably didn't work out, but these questions will definitely work out. So remember these three questions related to food. Okay, so the first one is, did you make this yourself? That's about the cooking. Do you cook often? And the third one, what else do you like to cook? Well, now that we've seen questions about the food, what next? Well, let's say you're in the party, you're talking to other guests, you're mingling, and you look around and you notice that the home that you've been invited to is a beautiful home. So why not use the home as a conversation starter? So, well, the conversation can start with a simple statement that says, "What a beautiful home you have." Now tell me, who doesn't like being appreciated for their house? Everyone loves it, right? So they're going to love it when you say, "What a beautiful home you have." And they're going to say, thank you very much. We try our best. And building on this question, you could ask them something like, did you do it up yourself? Meaning, did you decorate your home all by yourself? Now, some people get decorators, most people get decorators. Some people like to do every single thing by themselves. So whatever category your host or your hostess is in, you could ask them, did you do it up or do up your home by yourself? Now the answer could be yes, no. If the answer is yes, you can ask the next question on my list, which is, where did you get that? Or where did you pick up those decorative items? Or where did you get that painting? So many interesting questions to ask, leading up from this one simple question of doing up your home. Now let's say the other situation, the answer is, no, we got the best decorator in town to do up our home. Well then, you can have a conversation about the decorator. You can ask her or him the name of the decorator, his style, his preferences, and still have a jolly good conversation. So let me tell you, food and then followed by home. Yeah, these things, they will definitely make for a fantastic conversation. So the questions about the home, did you do it up yourself? Where did you get this or that? Referring to any decorative item or painting or anything interesting that you see in their house. And obviously, the conversation starter, do not forget, what a beautiful home you have. Works every time, 100%. Now, the next category of questions that you can use at a party conversation are very interesting because they're all about getting to know the person. That's right. So now you've been invited to dinner by a host or a hostess or a couple. It's important to show some amount of interest in their life. So you can do that by these simple questions. Now the first one, the simplest of all, but very important, what do you do? Okay. Now what do you do over here stands for what do you do for work? Okay. So when you get to know what the person does professionally, there are a lot of things that you can talk to the person about. Let's say, if the person says, I am an artist or I am a painter, you could actually discuss art with that person, and that would be a fantastic conversation. Moving on, you could ask the person, what are your interests? Meaning, what are your hobbies? Now, if somebody asks me that question, I'll say something like, I'm really into music, I love music, or I love reading, which means the person who asks me the question and me, we both can have a conversation about music, about songs, about reading, about authors, about writers, and that's a wonderful conversation to have, and it's a very warm and friendly one at that. Now the next thing you could do is, you could ask the same question, what are your interests or what are your hobbies, in a different manner by saying, how do you like to spend your time? Now when you ask a person, how do you like to spend your time, the person will answer in a very heartfelt and a very honest way by saying, I like to spend my time traveling, or I like to spend my time sailing. And those interests or those pastimes of your host or hostess or a fellow guest could actually lead to a very interesting conversation. Moving on, the next question on my list is, this is especially for those people who enjoy reading, okay, who know a lot about books, authors and writers. So you could ask the person, are you reading anything interesting? And maybe if you want to make it current, you could add the word currently to this question. So if you ask the person, are you reading anything interesting currently? And let's say the person you're asking this question to is definitely someone who enjoys books. The person will love to answer you and love to discuss the latest book they're reading. Or else, it could also happen that the person does not enjoy books. So if the person doesn't enjoy books, the reply could be, hey, I'm not really into books all that much, but I enjoy movies. So sometimes it's great when people have different interests because the conversation gets really interesting. So you could talk about books, the other person could talk about movies, and that makes for a wonderful conversation. So well, these are questions if you're interested in really getting to know the person, your host or hostess or a fellow guest, okay? And this category of questions is mostly related to the person himself or herself. Now imagine that you've been invited to dinner, but you've been invited by a couple. That's right, a married couple or a couple in a relationship. And now you have the chance to talk to both of them at the same time. So now it's important not only to know the person, but it's important to know the couple. So this category of questions is to get to know the couple. Now you could start with a very sweet and a personal question like, how did you two meet? Now this always leads to an interesting answer, an interesting story, because every couple has their own special meeting story. Okay, so you could start with this question, and this could lead to a very warm and open interaction with the couple. Or otherwise, if you're talking to a couple who've been together for a really long time, like let's say 2 decades, that's like 20 years or even more, then you could ask them something like, how long have you both been together? Now, been together over here stands for been married or been in a relationship. So you could ask them, how long have you both been together? And the answer could be very interesting because of course you'll come to know the number of years they've been together, but along with that they might even share a small joke or an anecdote or something interesting about being together for so long, and that could lead to a very warm and friendly conversation. So remember that if it's about the couple, these 2 questions always work. So well, I really hope you enjoyed my casual party conversations with the various categories such as food, home, the person, the couple. Trust me, these 4 categories will always get you a friendly conversation. Well, I really hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you have, all you have to do is subscribe to our channel. And remember, practice, practice and practice all the way. So well, the next time you get invited to a party, don't hide at home. Go to the party and practice asking these questions and having the party conversation. It's time for me, Rima, to take your leave. This is me saying bye-bye and take care.